nadie puede mirar como tú miras. Nadie besará como tú besas.
Which brought her an Oscar nomination.
You got your low-life job, Mr. Sheriff.
2 years later, she won 2 Emmy Awards for playing a 110-year-old former slave in the 1974 television drama, The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman.
You want me to go back as far as I can go?
Cicely Tyson became a recipient of 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 4 Black Reel Awards, 1 Screen Actors Guild Award, 1 Tony Award, an Honorary Academy Award, and a Peabody Award. She was also a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Cicely Tyson passed away at the age of 96 and leaves behind millions of fans worldwide. Rest in power to the one and only Cicely Tyson. This is Larry Beachy for the Black Information Network.
I'm Mike Island.
And I'm Esther Dillard on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The death toll is at least 24 from the California wildfires. Mrs. Obama is not coming, period. Michelle Obama will skip Donald Trump's inauguration Monday. And Maryland's governor says he wants to make sure his state is supported by the incoming administration. According to CNN, Governor Wes Moore is saying he is willing to work with the Trump administration. Moore, who is African American, tells CNN that there are 170,000 federal employees inside the state, and that does not include contractors. He says the statements these employees are hearing from the administration are impacting.
And we know that when we're hearing things about the closing of departments or the reshuffling of Schedule Fs, which is the category that they are in, that has a distinct impact on them and their livelihoods and their hopes and aspirations.
Moore says many federal employees have worked through both Democratic and Republican administrations, and he wants to see Maryland move forward.
You cannot have economic mobility without physical mobility. And so I do think it's important that we actually have an economic bill that makes sure that Maryland is going to be supported no matter what. And again, I'm prepared to work with anybody to ensure that the people of my state can thrive.
Moore adds federal employees are public servants simply doing their job no matter what party has been in control over the years. A white Chicago judge is being temporarily reassigned for sharing a racist meme of a black child. According to Newsbreak, a newly elected judge in the position since February 2024 is being referred to the State Judiciary Inquiry Board on allegations that she shared a racist text message that depicted an ad for a toy ankle monitor. The accompanying image showed a black toddler in an ankle monitor. According to Injustice Watch, Cook County Judge Carolyn Glennon Goodman reportedly intended to send the image to a close friend as a joke, but accidentally sent it to another member of the judiciary.
In an updated story here, a rise in respiratory illnesses is leading to more hospital visits nationwide. The most recent data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows ER visits for influenza or respiratory viruses are now very high in several states, with RSV and COVID-19 cases increasing. Tennessee, Arizona, Kentucky, Utah, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, and New Hampshire are among the states reporting the biggest spikes. The symptoms of RSV, flu, and COVID-19 are similar and include fever, cough, shortness of breath, congestion, and tiredness. A lawsuit claiming the use of excessive force is being filed against the city of Akron, Ohio. The city's independent police auditor last year determined that police officer Thomas Shoemaker used unjustified force when he arrested Sierra Fields in January of last year. Shoemaker reportedly body slammed Fields, who is African-American, during her arrest. Shoemaker and 2 others are also named as defendants in the suit.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network and on Blue Sky at Black Info Net. I'm Mike Island, along with Esther Dillard, on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Looking for ways to support your community? The United Negro College Fund is one of the nation's leading advocates for the importance of minority education and community engagement. Lend your support at uncf.org. That's uncf.org.
Get the Black news that matters in 30 minutes on the Black Information Network.
Houston, BIN 1320. Your money on the Black Information Network.
The start of the new year is the most popular time to make resolutions. For many, those start by giving up alcohol for the first 31 days. This year, 22% of adults are participating in Dry January, 5 percentage points higher than in previous hemispheres, according to a new report by Morning Consult. Of those taking a break from beer, wine, and mixed drinks, most are driven by the health benefits. The research found some adults may be particularly motivated by the U.S. Surgeon General's recent warning that even small amounts of alcohol can cause cancer, the author found. Giving up alcohol entirely for a month has become a popular way to kickstart better habits. It's credited for improving sleep, weight loss, and overall well-being. But your financial savings can also be significant. Your exact savings during dry January will hinge on your typical drinking patterns and related expenses, says Douglas Bonaparte, a certified financial planner and president and founder of Bonafide Wealth, a wealth management firm based in New York. For some, skipping that occasional glass of wine might free up $50, while for others who go out regularly, the total could climb to $300 or more. Even if you're an occasional drinker, you'll see a noticeable difference in your spending by giving up alcohol for a month. Money News at 24 and 54 past each hour. I'm Natasha Williams, and your home for 24/7 News, The Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
All the Black news you trust every 30 minutes on the Black Information Network. Houston's BIN 1320.
I'm Esther Dillard.
And I'm Mike Island on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
You will no longer have medical bills impact your credit report. This month, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, finalized a rule that will remove an estimated $49 billion in medical bills from credit reports.
It destroys lives because it really destroys credit. It destroys their ability to find funding, to buy a house. It just transfers into anything else we want to do.
That's Margarita, a Navy veteran, who shared on the Bureau's YouTube channel the emotional toll bills had on her after she broke both her ankles in an accident. The CFPB reports 1 in 5 Americans owe some amount of medical debt.
In Louisiana, 4 New Orleans police officers are being recognized for their bravery during the Bourbon Street terror attack.
And they ran the game, they neutralized that threat, and they stopped this terrorist from detonating those bombs. And I want you to, for a minute, imagine if they had not.
Orleans Parish DA Jason Williams, who is black, presented the Pillar of Courage Award to 4 officers, including Sergeant Nigel Daggs and Officer Jacoby Jordan, both who are black. Williams' office says 2 of the officers were wounded when taking out the terrorist in a gun battle. They prevented him from setting off some homemade bombs he'd planted, which likely would have caused more deaths.
Meanwhile, even though it's only a couple of weeks into the new year, nearly a dozen officers have been injured from gun-related violence. That's according to the Gun Violence Archive. That number prompted NBC Washington to examine the impact of gun-related injuries and deaths on law enforcement officers in the U.S. The station says the FBI reported more than 450 officers were assaulted by guns in 2023. And in 2024, 64 officers were killed in the line of duty.
Finally, the predominantly black city of Jackson, Mississippi is trying to attract new businesses to the area. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Lumumba, who is black, announced the start of a $6 million 3-phase project. WJTV reports the mayor is hoping the plan will generate more foot traffic in the area, and that hopefully will attract businesses like developers of a new hotel.
I'm Esther Dillard, along with Mike Island, on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First. Now, your Healthy Minute.
A recent study led by researchers at Washington State University discovered that elderberry juice could be a potent tool for weight management and boosting metabolic health. Published in the journal Nutrients, the study observed that consuming 12 ounces daily of elderberry juice for a week positively changed the gut microbiome. The study examined the metabolic health of 18 overweight adults by giving participants 12 ounces of elderberry juice to drink a day or a placebo. Researchers noted that those who drank the elderberry juice had significantly increased amounts of beneficial gut bacteria and decreased amounts of harmful bacteria in the gut. Elderberry juice is also known to be beneficial against heart disease, inflammation, diabetes, the common cold and flu, in addition to cancer. That's your Healthy Minute. I'm Morgan Wood on the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
In 30 minutes.
The Black Information Network.
Houston's BIN 1320.
Stretching from West 82nd to West 89th Street, Seneca Village was an African-American enclave that flourished. Home to 225 residents in 1855 with a population roughly two-thirds African-American, Seneca Village offered a serene landscape away from the urbanized scenery of downtown Manhattan. For 32 years, it served as a safe haven for African-Americans and fostered a tight-knit community. Approximately half the African-American population owned their own home in the village and with it the right to vote. But by 1853, the New York legislature enacted a law that would erase the area for the creation of Central Park. Eminent domain would be used to acquire the land, and while owners were compensated, many believed their land was undervalued. To justify its destruction, a racist smear campaign targeted the community, portraying it as a poor area with disheveled shanty-like housing. However, historical records and excavated artifacts have uncovered the rich history that was once Seneca Village. And that's a fact. I'm Ashley Young on the Black Information Network.
KXYZ Houston, the Black Information Network.
Listen at VINnews.com or tell your smart device to play the Black Information Network on iHeartRadio.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The investigation into a black driver, Ronald Green's 2019 death in Louisiana, is over with no officer facing prison. Former Deputy Chris Harper pled guilty to battery and received probation. DC leaders are citing rising construction costs for the $1.5 million price tag of the Inauguration Day viewing stand at the Wilson Building, tripled the 2017 cost. While some council members will not attend, Black Mayor Muriel Bowser and Ward 2's Brooke Pinto will use the stand. The first elected Chicago school board was sworn in today with 10 elected members and 11 appointed by Black Mayor Brandon Johnson. Their tasks include selecting a vice president and negotiating a new Chicago teachers union contract. And Chanel Booker is making history as Middle Georgia's first black U.S. attorney after being named acting U.S. attorney last week. She previously served as first assistant since 2022. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
And I'm Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The Black Mayor of Los Angeles, California, Karen Bass, is avoiding questions about her recent overseas trip to Ghana.
Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas?
You know, I am going to focus today on what we know.
Bass was attending the inauguration of Ghana President John Mahama when wildfires broke out across Southern California. She returned to Los Angeles a day later. She's since declined to answer questions whether she owes Los Angeles residents an apology for her absence. Meanwhile, the devastation is prompting Assembly Republicans to call for stronger prevention efforts and changes to the state's insurance system. They're calling for a special session.
There is so much that is before us right now, big issues that require our attention, and we should not be distracted by a special session to pay more government lawyers to sue Donald Trump.
Assembly Republican leader James Gallagher is referring to a postponed special session that was initially focused on President-elect Trump and protecting the state from potential legal fights with Trump and his administration. The Eaton fire in Pasadena and Altadena has grown to over 14,000 acres. The Palisades fire has burned nearly 24,000 acres, with containment slowly growing. A new round of powerful, dry Santa Ana winds isn't making things any easier for firefighters.
As devastation from wildfires is spreading across Southern California, the truth is some wealthy residents and insurance companies pay for private contractors to protect properties. The Wall Street Journal reports when black former Olympic gold medal sprinter Michael Johnson was alerted about the Palisades fire, he sprang into action to safeguard his multi-million-dollar Malibu home by quickly reaching out to his $5,000 a year private firefighting system. The fires are becoming more frequent and expensive for insurers. Private firefighting crews are in demand. Insurer-paid firefighters typically don't battle blazes directly. Instead, crews try to enter residences ahead of the fire to seal off vents, move combustibles, and sometimes spray fire-retardant gel on homes.
Mississippi's black representative Benny Thompson, the former chair of Congress's January 6th committee, says he's been in talks with the White House about presidential pardons. He confirms at least one conversation with the White House counsel's office about a potential pardon, even though he insists that he isn't lobbying for any special favors. The issue of pardons has been polarizing since Trump has long accused members of the January 6th Select Committee of weaponizing the investigation to unleash unleash political damage against him.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is announcing American flags at the Capitol will be temporarily raised for President-elect Trump's inauguration in direct defiance of a presidential order last month to mourn the death of former President Jimmy Carter. Trump complained that flags were scheduled to be at half-staff during the inaugural ceremony. Johnson said in a statement that on January 20th, the flags would be flown at full staff to celebrate the country coming together. A frustrated Trump lamented in a social media post that Democrats are giddy about the imagery of flags at half-staff. Earlier this month, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters that President Biden was not considering modifying his order.
I'm Gary McCready with Kevin Brown on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Quincy Jones stands as one of music's most remarkable innovators, his career spanning over 7 decades and encompassing jazz, pop, R&B, and film scoring. His journey from a young trumpet player in Seattle to becoming a titan in the industry showcases a rare blend of talent, vision, and resilience. Jones not only worked with legends like Michael Jackson, Frank Sinatra, and Ray Charles, but he helped shape the sound of modern music itself. His work behind Thriller changed the landscape of pop, while his compositions for films and television, like The Color Purple, brought a fresh, soulful perspective to the screen. Jones was more than a producer. He was a cultural ambassador.
Con un strike. Con todos los buenos envíos de Antonio Alemão Hernández, tanto Isaac Paredes como Luis González. Abre el corredor que está por la primera. Viene el lanzamiento, Ricta se le quedó por fuera. Son dos bolas con un strike. No le va a dejar nada bateable, nada cómodo.